What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and I'm late in this video, but hey, in this one I want to talk about the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. And at first, it looked like the Warriors might possibly run away with this one. They were leading at the half, 70-52, and a lot of damage was done in the first half by Klay Thompson. I think he scored 19. I think it was 19 points in the first half. And Klay Thompson seems to have broken out of that shooting slump that has plagued him for most of the season. And he finished with 26 points. But in the second half, James Harden struck. Now, I've been kind of critical of James Harden. I think he turns the ball over a lot, even more so than Russell Westbrook, but he doesn't get criticized for that as much. And I think he's a bit of a chucker. I understand because of the volume of three-pointers that he takes, that it's going to affect his field goal percentage. I get that. But Steph Curry takes a lot of three-pointers, and he shoots more in the 47, 48, 49 percentile, while Harden is generally stuck in the 43, 44 percentile. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it just doesn't look good to me to see a scorer shoot in that percentile, especially a guy who's not necessarily a little guy. Like, I can understand Allen Iverson shooting in that percentile, low 40s, or Isaiah Thomas. These are little guys, 6 feet, 6'1", but James Harden is an average size guard. He should be shooting a little bit, well, whatever. He was 13 of 32 from the floor last night, which to me isn't that efficient. But he took 23 three-pointers, and made 10 of them, which is very efficient. So you excuse that. He had a triple-double. I think he had 41 points, 10 rebounds, 15 assists. And he hit essentially the game winner with 2.7 seconds remaining in overtime. An improbable shot over two defenders to seal a 135-134 come from behind victory. And the Rockets improved to 22-15, man. Look, I don't like his game. I've made that point time and time again. But I got to give Rutherford B. Hayes, I got to give the Black James A. Garfield his fucking props. He's carrying the Rockets right now, man. He's carrying them. And I got to tell you something else, too. This has happened ever since Chris Paul went down with that injury. Now, I'm not saying Chris Paul is the reason why they were losing. I'm not saying that. But it doesn't look good that since you've been injured, they've been on the road. Austin Rivers had a good game last night, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Clinton Capella had 29 points. I don't know, man. If I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm thinking, do we really need Chris Paul? If Austin Rivers keep putting up 15 to 18 points a game, or just in double figures, do we really need Chris Paul? Do we really need an aging point guard? Pay this guy all this money? Let's see if we can trade this guy. For the Warriors, I think Kevin Durant had 26 points. My tattoo. The great one. My profile pic, bitch. But Kevin Durant had 26, I think. Stephen Curry had 35 points. Once again, they didn't really get much offensive production from Draymond Green, but then again, it's only one basketball. But one thing that you notice about the Warriors, they're extremely top-heavy. Look at the bench. You don't get that much production from other people. And that's going to be a problem. I forgot Gerald Green had 16, 18 points for the Rockets or something like that. So the Warriors are still a great team. And James Harden hit an improbable shot, and you can make the argument that the Warriors should have won this game. But the Warriors still gave up a big lead, something that never happened. Never happened the first couple of teams, the Warriors teams. The 2015 team that won 67 games, and the 2016 team that won 73, the record 73. You never saw those teams give up a big lead. And usually with the Warriors, man, once they got up on your ass by 20, Steph Curry started doing his little fucking leprechaun dance, whatever the fuck that shit was he would do. That was your ass. It was over. They don't look like the same team to me, man. I'm not going to say that they're not going to repeat because I watched a lot of teams look a certain way, a certain part of the season, and then they turn it on. I remember Cleveland so many times during the regular season looked kind of awful. And they turn it on in the postseason and still somehow manage to get to the NBA Finals. So I'm not going to sit there and say Golden State isn't going to repeat as champions because they very well may have. I very well may repeat as champions. But they look vulnerable. They definitely look vulnerable, man. And, if I'm a team in the Western Conference, especially, say, the Thunder, or shit, even Houston, man. I'm telling you, man, Houston just looks better without Chris Paul. It's, I've always been the biggest Chris Paul defender there is. And I'm not saying that Chris Paul isn't a Hall of Famer. He is. But I've always been a defender of him. But you have to wonder just how valuable he is at this stage of his career. At this stage of his career. Is it time to start? Is it time to stop looking at the name on the jersey and to start looking at the production? Has he reached that stage of his career? Like, unfortunately, it happened with Carmelo. It happened with Kobe. Kobe really fell off after the Achilles tendon injury. Is it time to look at Chris Paul and say, hey, I know you're Chris Paul, but we got to start looking at what you're actually doing on the court now. Like, you're giving us, 16 points, probably maybe 4 rebounds, 7.5 assists, maybe, whatever Chris Paul is averaging this year. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head. 44% shooting. Slipping defensively. Pulling a hamstring, trying to chase out these young, the youngins at the point guard position. Like, is it time to kind of devalue this guy, man? And the Rockets organization did not really want to give him that big max or near max contract they gave him last year, but they went ahead and did it, man. And I'm pretty sure right now they're starting to have buyer's remorse. Because now all of a sudden the Rockets are 7 games above 500. And I can't say they're playing against a bunch of sorry teams because they just beat the defending NBA champions. So, there's that, man. And James Harden right now, even though he's a volume scorer, even though I don't like his game, he's, the free throws and all the 3-pointers and what have you. No matter how I feel about it, the guy's averaging 33, closing on 34 points a game. He's the leading scorer by far. And if he can actually replicate what he's doing in the regular season, in the postseason, especially deeper in the postseason, then my respect for James Harden will go up exponentially. If he can actually replicate what he did last night in a Western Conference series, when it matters, that's when legends are made, not regular season bullshit. It's when you do that on the big stage. That's why we love the Abdul Jabbars, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, the Michael Jordans, the Tim Duncans, the Shaquille O'Neals. LeBron, I don't know, man. Sometimes you choke on the big stage, dog. And that's why sometimes we don't look at LeBron as a top 5 player. But that's all I got to say about that game, man. Tell me what you guys think.